edition, and my guest is finally in the house as he gets himself ready. Richard Davis is the boxing coach down at Dwaynamics ABC MBE. Amazing, amazing guy. I don't think he gets enough kudos, and I'm hoping that we will do him amount of justice today. Okay, as he gets himself sorted, he literally is waving at me. Hi! Boxing coach, he's got a massive story to tell. His father is a legendary boxing coach, Don Davis, who was trained from Hugo Curry, from Dennis Andre, Lloyd Honeyghan. But why am I telling you all of this when you could actually sit and listen to the wonderful man himself? His father's from Peckham, and so they come from the area of South London, those who didn't know. Those who do know him, I want you to share his story, share this page, share this link, because it is going to be a truly amazing story that we will all be in. I'm not sure why he's waving at me. Here you are. Hello, darling. Can I bring you in?
Hello. Hey! How you doing? Finally.
Hey!
What's going on?
Oh my God. Richard has just finished a boxing class, a training class, folks. So he's literally ran and come to join us here today.
Yes,
I'm so happy.
Yes, finally.
I know. He was messaging me and telling me I've got glitches and and I'm going, listen. So now he's here. Let me just wipe the shine off my face. Oh, you just make me hot, baby. Make me hot.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody, Good afternoon. Richard Davis is in the house. I'm hoping that everyone can see that. Can you see that, Rich?
I can just about, I think I'm going to need some glasses in the next few months.
How's that? Does that work for you?
My eyesight's going. Unless I blow the screen up bigger, but I'm trying not to even touch the phone just in case.
Everybody meet Richard Davis, and he's a boxing coach from Dwaynamics ABC MBE. Richard, welcome and thank you for coming on to tell your story, standing in my truth on our edition. Absolutely, truly amazing. Please, Richard, without further ado, tell everybody about you.
About me.
Who is
not
the
much
man?
really to say, but I'm the son of a boxer, Don Davis. We can go talk about him in a while. I've been in this boxing game since I was 3 years old. I went to the iconic Thomas à Becket Boxing Club where all the elite professional boxers trained, and I had a fantastic experience growing up in that gym because I was the only boy there at that age. My dad was I was the only one that was there watching the boxers, so I took in a lot of stuff. Even though it bored me a bit, no one to play with except for watching these bags swinging from side to side and sweat and all that stuff. And remember, in the Thomas à Becket in those days, there was only one ring and 2 bags. None of this 20 bags things and all these new stuff that fighters think they need to have. There was nothing. It was just plain old simple bag, gloves, and a ring and sweat.
I can smell it coming through the screen as we speak.
Oh God, it was awful. Absolutely, it was a real man's gym,
But that's the better way. That is sawdust. That is the earthiness of knowing that you were in the gym. That's it. You know that, as you just said, all the fancy things in these new gyms because people expect that they want to be so futuristic, and they're missing the point.
No, they're missing it completely.
They're missing the point.
Yeah.
What else about you? Tell me a bit about your childhood growing up.
Yes.
How many brothers do you have?
It was a hard childhood. I'm not even going to lie. Financially, it was hard because my parents were poor. They didn't have much money, but they made do. Parents from back in the day, they could make the pound stretch. Make the food stretch with whatever we had. and so it was very difficult. But also, growing up, we grew up on the Woolworth Road with a lot of racial tension there. National Front we had to contend with. Going to school, that's how I had to learn to fight. That's where my dad took me to the gym, so that I couldn't be bullied by those kind of people. And my 4 sisters. So we all grew up knowing how to handle ourselves.
Stop. 4 sisters, no brothers?
No brothers, I'm afraid. Just 4 sisters. We were, and trust me, they could fight.
It's amazing, you're a spoiled child, yeah?
I don't think I was. My people would say I was, but I don't think I was. I think I was treated really evenly, Okay.
That's what you think.
That's what I think, yeah. But, it was really hard for us growing up. And but, despite all that racial tension, we didn't we didn't dislike anybody. Do you know what I mean? We didn't dislike a colour or a person because, we're loving people and that's how we are. And so growing up in the schools and stuff like that, Bermondsey, playing football in the park, you'd come up across quite a lot of them. So it was it wasn't easy.
When you say coming up against a lot of them, what do you mean? Like racial tension? You were attacked?
Yeah, I mean, we were called niggers, we were spat at. Even down to our neighbours didn't like us. They used to say to us, why don't you go back to your own country? Which we didn't know no other country. This was our country. So when they said...
I was shocked, but do you know what I mean? But
yeah.
Horrible hearing that, to be fair.
Yeah, it was traumatic for us. But you know what? My dad and my mum, they really stood strong against it. And it made us very much stronger. If anything.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So... there was times then as we got older, we weren't taking that anymore, and we learned to fight our own battles. Dad sent us out on the battlefield to be strong. And
I remember a quote you said to me the other day when we were talking that your dad was saying that, there's no way you're coming home to let you know that you've been beaten up. You
absolutely
have to learn to fight. But you never really got into a fight when you were at school anyway.
No, I didn't. School was a blessing for me. It was, we had lots of friends, and we all, walked home together from school. We really didn't fight. Very rarely I had a fight at school. I was there to educate myself, listen, because I didn't want to get the licks when I get home. It was as simple as that, my dad wanted us to educate myself, hence why I didn't start boxing, even though I had so much information on boxing from I was a young kid. I didn't start boxing till late.
How late?
I think I didn't start boxing really till I was about 20, probably 18, 20.
Oh, right.
And,
so you were a bloomer, basically.
Yeah, it was a thing that he didn't want me to do.
Well, your father actually didn't want you to go into boxing. Is that what you're saying?
No. He said he thought I didn't have it in me because I didn't fight at school. And he thinks that to be a boxer, well, at the time, he thought education was the best thing. And so I educated myself. That's as simple as that. And waited. But I knew, when you know you've got that bug in you, it's really hard to explain. On boxer, it's a gut feeling. That there's something in you. You just know you can make boxing.
Yeah.
So for me, I wanted to do it just to say that I did do it and to say that I've taken part in it. I wanted to feel what my dad had felt as a boxer, sort of thing,
Talking about, that brings us to this then. Talking about your dad, we've got the wonderful Don Davis. I don't know if you can see that on the screen.
Yes. Good old dad there. Yes.
Tell me about your dad. Who was Don Davis?
He's an amazing, cool character. He's the coolest person. You talk about 007 in boxing. That's my dad. The 007 in boxing.
I love that terminology. The 007 of boxing.
Yeah, man. He's boxing. His boxing brain is amazing.
Okay.
My dad actually had locks when he boxed, and it was really, really weird because in those days, boxers, especially black boxers, had it really hard, and they couldn't achieve what they set out to achieve, you know. And my dad was part of that clique of black British boxers going out there to do something. But you know, again, you know, the racial problem there. You know, they thought my dad was a girl because he had locks. So yeah. So he had a lot of problems. But my dad fought some of the best British fighters in Britain, and really, he should have been an iconic person. You know, he should have been the one that was there. But you know, we had to fight. Everything we had to do was a struggle. You know,
he was an amateur boxer, wasn't he? He didn't.
No, funny enough, no, my dad didn't do any amateurs. Would you believe it or not? My dad learned to fight.
Great record. The record that he's got, the boxing record shows that his record is 40, and I think it's 40 and 6.
Yeah, you know more than me.
My dad did homework.
Yes, you did. My dad boxed straight as a pro. He learned to fight as a professional, and that's very unique to do because not many boxers can do that. I always tell my boxers, you've got to do the amateurs no matter what as a good base. And there's me setting the cast there, and then my dad, he never boxed as an amateur, he always boxed as a pro, and he was a brilliant pro. He's more of a defensive fighter. He'll stay in the pocket, and if you don't hit him, he's surely going to hit you. So,
you see, that's strange, and I'm glad you've pointed that out to me, because I tell you what I am going to do. Because on the boxing records, it is not showing you that it's a pro; it's showing the full-on amateur. And I don't know what I can do with my spirit and wisdom, but I will email, because you're allowed to do that, and I will let boxing records know you need to take amateur off, because it lists all these fights as well. I mean, amazing, wonderful fights. So in the archive, and it was beautiful to see that, because it's a knowledge I was not aware of. I think we'll come back down to that a bit later on. So a bit more about your dad. Who did your dad train? Because after from being an amateur professional boxer, then went on to be a legendary coach. Please let the public know about this coach here.
Oh man, my dad trained some wonderful fighters, the likes of Howard Eastman, who challenged for the world title. Yeah. He trained Dennis Andrews, who was a world champion. And everybody thought Dennis Andrews was never going to make a world champion, but my dad stuck by him, and he made it through the European title. He got the European title, and then finally got a taste of the world title and won that. So that was a remarkable achievement for my dad. He trained Trevor Curry. Everybody knows big old Trevor, Hugh Roy Curry. And it was amazing with Trevor. I still have a good friendship with Trevor.
I've got their pictures somewhere. I'm going to chuck them up a bit later on.
Yeah.
I don't think some people even know who you're probably even talking about.
Oh, man. I'll tell you what.
Keep mentioning. Go ahead.
After Trevor Curry, you had Richie Williams, who won, Richie won a WBO champion title, version of the world title. He had Errol Christie.
We're going to talk about Errol Christie just a little bit later.
And Derek Williams, Sweet D Williams, my dad had, But, Dad should be up there in the history books, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to him producing all these big fighters. And I'm not going to say that it was them in particular. There's other fighters there. I don't think they represented him very well. They sort of used and abused him. They get him to one stage, and once they got their credibility, all right, Don, that was it for my dad. And there's more recent fighters, which I'm not going to call their names out, but they know who they are, that have done exactly the same thing. And I think there is coaches that have worked really hard to get these boxers to where they need to get to. And then they just fly by night, go off to another coach. And it's not because that coach is better. Money.
They're promised money.
Yeah, of course.
The coaches who are paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
You don't even have the grassroots knowledge of your dad or yourself or other coaches that have strived to be where you're at. So they feel that they'll take these guys, they've got the money because they think they know. But the two does not marry up at all.
No, absolutely not.
They think it's a quick fix when it's not.
No.
It's detrimental to their career, and so they end up jumping ship. And then you see them box 3 fights and think they're really great. Someone tells them that they're really great.
Yeah.
And so they think, I'm going to go and get like a Hearn or do you know what I mean?
I don't know, but one thing I do know is that there is a lot of fighters that jump from one coach to the next. And what they got to understand is this. The coach that you had before will always add more stuff to your boxing style. And when you go to another coach, he might not understand the basics of that, and then you take away the elements of that boxer's style of boxing. Right, so then you're vulnerable because he's trying to teach him something else. Yeah. And so the teachings are all wrong in boxing. And I say to all the boxers, stick with your coaches. Don't be jumping ship because some other coach or there is somebody trying to give you a little pound extra to do it. Support your coaches because the coaches work damn hard. They're away from their families most of the time to work with the boxers, and there's no loyalty in the game. And that's
about that too, didn't we? None whatsoever.
Yeah. No loyalty whatsoever.
In that, because we're going to revisit that. Because I'd love to have your take on, Dillian White and a few, because it goes back to teaching.
Right.
Boxing skills. So I'm going to come back to a few boxers that I've seen over the past that are good, got great, but then regressed. So we'll stick a pin in that.
Yeah.
So with your father, we've got to your father. The next thing I wanted to bring up with you is this. I want to know, how did you come into coaching?
Wow. Well, I was at Miguel's with Steve and my dad. Steve is the owner of Miguel's. We have a wonderful relationship, even though I'm across the waters from them now. And I got a call one day from Pastor Lorraine Jones, whose sadly son died from a knife attack in Brixton. And it was Dwayne Simpson, his name was. And she wanted to do some community stuff to, build Dwayne's name for the future. And she called me up and she explained that, Dwayne had died from a single stab wound to the heart. And it was really sad time.
What year was this? Can you let people know? What year
that was it 2000 and... what are we now? 2016, 15 maybe, I think. And it was tragic for any parent to lose their kid, and in them circumstances, even the worse. So I decided.
You was at Miguel's, and then you got the call.
Yeah.
Pastor Lorraine. Okay.
Yeah, and I decided that. I couldn't do the two. I couldn't do Miguel's and I couldn't do the community boxing. So I decided that I wanted to put all my efforts into working with the community and taking these young boys away from all the crazy distractions out on the road and put it into something positive inside the gym. So I already had 15 boys actually from the community that was working with me at Miguel's. So we had this.
Did you bring them along with you?
Yeah. So good old Steve allowed me to do that, which was really, really good. Because what happened was we were in Angeltown, and Angeltown was the birth of Dwaynamics, and we had a small community centre which basically it couldn't hold 10 people in there. And so what I did was. Put up 2 bags and had the community working in there. Grassroots, girl. Grassroots. It was amazing. And we had, I'm not even lying to you, we had over 100 kids coming to that small. We had to spread it through the day. That's how bad it was, so that we could have.
No. That's how good it was. What are you talking about?
Okay. Yes. But you know, it was just a great time for everybody and everything, and we had to make sure that, you know, obviously that the kids got the benefit of what we were doing. So then finally we decided, off of the back of that incident with Dwayne, the Metropolitan Police had a place, like a storage place where they stored bikes. And so Lorraine and I went and looked at it, and they said, "Do you want it?" And I goes, "It's an arch." Says, "Yeah, of course we want it. We weren't going to turn that down." So we could build on what we already had.
Right.
And there was more room for us to do what we needed to do.
And spread the classes, so not
spread the classes,
allowing them to all be able to have everything.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things we was just an empty, cold, and I tell you, it was freezing. It was freezing in there, cold arch, you could imagine, and it had concrete flooring, and we had a scaffolding company who would come and put up the bags for us. It was crazy, but we had a future plan. We didn't want it to just stop there. And then we started to get some flooring done. And then we got a mezzanine flooring, which cost us, I think, 19 to 20 grand. So we had 2 floors instead of 1. We were kind of building the future. And we had 1 ring, and now we've got 2 rings. And, you know, that was where Dwaynamics really hit home, when we got that from the police officers.
That's true. You know what I love is what you've just said, which was, we fight against the police, you know, or the police fight against us.
Yeah.
And there's just so much atrocious footage of how the police have treated black people.
Of course.
The means for that, without me trying to be all political.
Yeah.
But there are some out there that really care.
There is. That's
what sticks with me.
Yeah, there is. Not, you know, you got to understand, and people got to understand, police are human beings at the end of the day. Yeah. And just like anybody else, they feel the same things that we feel. The only thing is, which I feel that is wrong with the police force, is that most police officers are brought in to the areas rather than live in the areas. So they've come from some rural place and they've come to London. It's a whole different ball game. You know?
I've not heard not one person explain it like that.
Yeah, it is, and because, you know, I sometimes talk to a couple of officers, because don't forget the Met has a boxing team. Yeah,
right.
GB boxing team. So sometimes they come to us for sparring when we had the sparring, and they never treated us no different, and we didn't treat them no different, to be honest. We didn't go in there and go and punch them out and say, "Oh, they're police officers. Let's give them hell."
Yeah.
They're there to learn as well as us, and our boys have so much respect. It's a wonderful club, and it's a wonderful thing to see the boys that mature and can deliver what they want to deliver, however the circumstances are.
Yeah. So for you now, you're now a boxing coach, and you've got amazing people coming through the door. But you boxed yourself. So before I even go forward, I'm actually going to take you right back. But you boxed.
Yes.
So you boxed pro or amateur? What?
No, I boxed as an amateur. As I went back, as I said
I'm just
before.
going to bring up some photos while you're talking. Okay.
As I go back, I was an amateur boxer.
Okay.
And for me, I just wanted to taste it, because it was already too late for me. You know, you have to finish in the amateurs, I think, at the age of 40, and I think I finished at the age of 40 at boxing. But
so you started your amateur at 20...
24, 25. It was really late. It was really late. But not to say that the competitions is what I wanted to have. I trained as a fighter, but the competitions, you can't be a fighter without the competitions.
Competition,
and I wanted that experience, so I could say to myself, I can take it back and say, you know what, guys, this amateur thing is not an easy thing, and it isn't. But if you learn, listen, and put in all the hard work, you will get there. And all of the people that reach the top are the ones that are in the gym training, eating right, 24/7. 24/7.
I am here. I'm not distracted. I want to keep telling them. I'm going to find these awesome pictures, which was here on the screen, but I thought that I was being clever, trying out my new software, because I thought, yay, I'm so bad. And
oh my God.
And I wanted everyone to see what I was doing. So, you know, there's my Dwaynamics. I wanted everyone to see.
Oh, yes, Dwaynamics there. Yeah.
I wanted everyone, here we go. So look, there's Dwaynamics.
Oh my God.
I will not be beaten. I will not.
You won't be. No, that's fantastic. Yeah. Absolutely.
So this is, anyone that's ever seen this logo, this is what Richard was talking about, Dwaynamics. Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring you to the boys, the pictures of the boys that you were now talking to. You've gone amateur. You've now decided, I'm no longer going to be an amateur. I'm going to take everything that I've learnt and I've now put it into Dwaynamics. And what I found out about you was you have an outreach program that you run in your boxing fraternity.
Absolutely.
And the church. Can you divulge a bit more about that? Because
okay, well, you know, we have something like 50 amateur boys that box for the club.
Yeah.
We also have something like probably 100 users from small kids from 5 to 11.
Let's not forget the ladies in there.
I haven't finished yet. I have a ladies class which was taken this morning. We have something like 40 to 50 ladies that use the gym as well, which is fantastic. Mothers that bring their kids to the gym, fathers that bring their kids to the gym.
Just trying to put me while I'm talking to you.
Oh, get ready. But it's a wonderful program we've got for kids with special needs as well. I've got what's his name? I've got a beautiful photo. I don't know if anyone can see me pointing to this photo. He was just actually here just now. He's gone again. He just left. But we've got kids with special needs. You know, there's such a wide band of different types of special needs. So the one with the NHS I've had for 5 years. I haven't told many people about it, but it's a wonderful.
You're telling them now because you're standing in your truth on my program.
It's true. 5 years we've had that contract with a NHS trust in Kennington, and they got a lot of kids with cerebral palsy, kids in wheelchairs. One of them, actually, two of them just left now, and it's been a wonderful thing that they've connected with us to do. And we do a sports day every year as well with them. So we have some from Southwark and Lambeth both joining on that sports day, which we have something like 50, I think it's 50 kids. And we split it into two throughout the day. And that happens once or twice a year. But obviously through COVID, we've not had them in, only one or two. Yeah, as you can see.
Pictures of,
and
they can see that in the real world, they can see the amazing pictures that we've had up here, etc. Apart from the fact that you have all these wonderful people coming through the door, you've got different walks of life as well. So
absolutely,
you're having to deal with different people's energies, their mental awareness, their state taking them from the streets who need somewhere to go. Me, you don't have to call any names or incidents, but the type of people and things that you do when you have students like that come through your door.
Do you know what? It's all about building trust. And some of these boys, you can see. When last have you ever seen you walk on the street and you say hello to a person and someone says hello to you back? It don't happen.
Very rare.
People are so in their own world these days.
Absolutely.
They forget that there's other people about. So it's not that easy. But what happens in our gym, we have some boys from the road. We have some boys that are not on the road. We have some boys from all different areas. They all come together, and they actually forget what is out there, what's going on out there. They actually focus more on their boxing. They talk to each other. This is how it should be across the world. They actually talk to each other. Even sometimes you see them play wrestling and fighting amongst themselves. When do you ever see?
Yeah, the great videos that you sent me where even though they're sparring, they've turned around and they're doing something. Do you know what I mean?
Natural energy. Natural energy. I believe that boxing clubs cannot be the way they were back in the day, the militancy of it all, because these boys are different. And I'm not saying they don't respect authority, but there's a certain way you have to deal with them. And you'll gain their respect, and then you can tell them anything after that.
Right.
I've had boys in there, I've had coaches in there. Some of the coaches it's never worked for. So and they've come with that same mentality, and it never worked. So and when you explain to them, you can't talk to the boys them certain ways like that. Yes, boxing requires
discipline.
Yeah, but there's ways of doing it, and you can capture them in some glorified ways, but you have to know how to do it.
Yeah.
And so, we have boys from all, boys and girls from all over. We've got a lovely community here, and we network with the horse riding stables, Ebony, across the way. And so we have
there's a racehorse stable across the way.
Yeah, we have a couple of horses. We have a young girl did a race last year for Ebony, and
is that the one with the Muslim girl?
Yes.
Yes.
My
God, isn't she amazing?
Yes. She was absolutely amazing. Her story,
it's amazing.
To everybody. Yeah. It was a wonderful story. But she trained at Dwaynamics, got her fit for it.
We want to get her on the show. We'll get her on one of the Saturday shows.
Yes, I can get her in one of the days.
I'm waiting you to get her on our show.
I will.
We're lined up for the next 2 months, so we'll get her on the back end of November. We'll have her on the show. Amazing.
Fantastic.
Amazing. Her story needs to be told.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's all about the same thing which we talked about, the racism, not having certain representatives in sports, from the past to the future. And it's all round in all different sports. And so therefore, if we got to be recognised, we got to do certain things to make sure that they're in sport.
Well done. Which now brings me to, I noticed in your photos, I want to talk a bit more about your amateur boys and where they've been, and the people that have won under your tutelage. And you've got a master. Who is that?
Yeah, that's Angelina Crosswell. Angelina, whoop. I'll tell you, she's amazing. She's been with us a few years now, and
I think really want to see that.
Yeah, I think that was me or one of the other boxers. I can't remember. As coaches, we are still athletes, and we still need to be treated like athletes. So we still need the massages. We still need to be looked after in that respect. Doing pad work is one of the hardest things in boxing, with shoulders and wear and tear.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
So the boys, we've had some wonderful boys. Terrell Bernard, 75 kg boxer. Last season or the season before, no one had heard of him until I put him through to the elite championships, and he just carved his way through the elite championships and got through to the finals of the Londons. Unfortunately, didn't win it. It was a split decision, very close. He fought a wonderful boy named Andre from Whitehorse, I think, boxing club. Very pro-like kind of thing. But we knew what we were in for, and we discussed it before going into the championships, what we wanted to do, what we wanted to achieve. And I think we really did achieve that. And then he's a wonderful boy, wonderful personality, love him to bits. And then we had we went to the MTK Box Cup. I took 3 boxes.
You know I feel about MTK.
MTK, yeah, the MTK.
Big up Master Knowledge. Big up Master Knowledge. He's just great.
all right.
Tunde, I'll have to send this to Tunde as well. Like, you know. Yes. Tunde, how you doing? Oh my God.
Well, Tunde knows me. He knows me very well. My dad trained him when he was a pro. So Tunde.
He was trained by Don Davis.
Yeah, Tunde will tell you. Yes.
Oh my days.
But you see, the thing is, this is the essence of it. They know how great my dad is. They know how great he is. Therefore, he's not had the right channels to show the knowledge of his boxing, and that's down to man like Tunde, Ted Bammy, and all them guys that have got the boxers there. They need to do these things and say, you know what, I need to bring Don on board because he is the historical coach. He knows, he sets the pros them well. There's wealth of knowledge there. A lot of these coaches don't really understand and really want to go to. Don't ask me why, but I've got the knowledge and I'm keeping it there. We had the MTK Box Cup. We had some wonderful fighters there. I took a boy named Josh, and even before we got there, we knew we were going to win a gold medal there. I love
the confidence. I love the confidence.
Trust me, we knew it was going to happen. And it was a wonderful time to take the boys away from London. It was in the Lake Districts. We had three fighters there. One won silver. The other one didn't do so well. Wrong tactics at the time, I think, for him. And sometimes in boxing, if you don't listen to the coaches, this is what's going to happen. You have to listen and you have to learn. And I think with the MTK Box Cup, it's a lovely platform for boxers that have had not more than 10 fights. You can have there is an elite one, but this one was for fighters that, you know, not so elite, and just going through.
I'm just gonna even up your levels right now.
Mm-hmm.
Who is Zaya?
Oh, Zaya Al-Qatani. Yes, Zaya Al-Qatani. Well, it was a really weird thing because his brother and I used to spar together back in the day.
Yeah.
And his brother is a great boxer. He could have made it all the way. He could have made it all the way to the top. But he's Naz.
Okay, Naz.
Yeah. He could have made it all the way to the top.
You can't just go Naz. Naz what? Naz who?
Naz Al-Qatani.
Okay, Naz Al-Qatani, folks. Did you hear that?
Yes.
Al-Qatani, right.
And he got an injury on a motorbike. And my dad used to train him. So I know he's going to be good anyway. And he had an incident in the bike and it ended his career, really.
Sorry to hear
but
that.
Him and I are really good friends and we spar together still, even though his leg is, you know, it's okay. He still can do what he needs to do and we work together.
But it keeps him fit. It keeps him fit and within the infrastructure. Yeah, the mind, you know. And so I didn't know that he had a brother that actually boxed, because I never ever saw him until I went to Miguel's one day and he was there shadow boxing. But anyway, he came to me and he said that he's got a proposition for me and came to my house and said, you know, we sat down, we ate some food. He said, look, Rich, I want you to train Zahir for this fight. And I thought, why not? You know, it'd be good to mix with the pros and see my knowledge and see what I can deliver. And we spent 4 months in the gym. We went to a few camps to spar. I was just teaching him a few techniques that I think would benefit him or better. How good was he? So you honed what he had. So how good was he?
Yeah, you hone what he has. You know, you can't take away nothing from a boxer. It doesn't make sense. You just add to it. That's the way I look at things. Because you change a boxer, it might not be the same boxer. So you just try and better his levels. Look at the skill set. Look at how he's punching, what he's punching. The movement for the punching is really important, and the reasons why you want to throw that particular shot. Because you can't go into boxing and just say you're going to throw a shot without knowing the reasons why you're going to throw it.
Throwing the shot, absolutely.
Yeah, it's the same thing for everything else. When you go to school and you want to read a book and you read a story, you want to know about the story. You want to know why that story was done. It's the same thing for boxing. And so we trained hard through the 3 months. But he didn't tell me I was going to Saudi. That was a shock. I was like, what? And he didn't tell me it was under the Anthony Joshua fight. So I was kind of, yeah.
You were like,
but I actually spoke to my dad about it as well. And he said, yeah, go and enjoy the experience because it's an experience of a lifetime. So,
Team Davis.
Yeah. I took it on and we trained in Saudi. Got the weight down to where we needed to get him to, and everything was. And he won. He won a Middle East WBC Middle East champion, lightweight champion. It was fantastic. Yeah.
I watched his interview, his after interview. I don't know if I told you this. He was hilarious.
Yeah.
But he was just, when I was buzzing after a fight. And
yes.
The guy just said to him, "Oh my God, we've never had a Middle Eastern champion before. Oh my God, how you feeling?" He said, "Oh my God, I'm buzzing." And he said, "Well, who do you want to fight next?" And he went, "Lomachenko." And I went, "What?" I was like, "Hold on, brother. Hold on a second.
Come on, man.
You're calling out the biggest and baddest in your weight. Actually, he's lightweight, and Lomachenko is a weight up. So I'm like, you're calling out someone who's a weight above you. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure that weight, and you're calling him out." And I was like, oh my God. But you know what I loved about him is the fact that he has a dream. And he wasn't dreaming of fighting my level. I'm dreaming of the level where I want to go.
Yes, of course. I think it's important. Every boxer has a dream, and every boxer wants to be a world champion.
Right.
It's how you get it. It's how you get it. It's how you develop those sleepless nights, being away from your family for 3 months, and training under camp is the real important thing. And once you've got a good camp, your world is your oyster.
Again, it brings this up here.
Yeah, knowledge is power.
And the mentality that you keep. So Simon has gone on, and it's beautiful because, as I said, here you are on the undercard. You take the front with under the clash, in the dunes with Joshua under Joshua's undercard fight, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
That is beautiful, Richard. Honestly,
it was an amazing experience, and I've got to thank Zahir and his family for giving me that chance and opportunity.
Rice and peas.
Oh, yeah. He loves his food. I can tell you that much. He really does love his food. Actually, the whole Al-Qatani family loves food. Let me tell you.
I want rice. Now that I've done it, I want rice and peas. I was like, what have you guys done to this poor guy? All he wants
oh
to
my
rice
God.
and peas.
But I have to say, the hotel was amazing. And it was really weird. The food that they had there was it was off the scale. And there was so much cakes. I don't know how you can have a hotel with boxes in there and have so much cakes just lying there. It was so it really was.
Salivating, sorry.
But it was a wonderful experience. I watched the Anthony Joshua fight as well, obviously. It weren't the rumble in the jungle like Muhammad Ali. That was a real rumble in the jungle, but nonetheless, it was getting there.
Yeah. And it was needed because he'd already lost the first fight, and so he needed this the second time.
He needed this win. What I was pleased with Zahir, though, going back, that he hadn't done 8 rounds before with Zahir, so we knew he was pretty comfortable in the fight. Let's get him to do the 8 rounds because. Look, you train for 3 months, and I always say this to people. You train for 3 months. Why are you knocking out a guy in 30 seconds? What does that prove? Nothing.
Right, there you go. Betting.
Yeah. It don't prove anything. It proves that you can knock out a guy. But the most important essence is to get the rounds under your belt and learn the skills. I tell all my boxers that. Get this. Yeah.
Stamina.
Exactly. I'm not going to train for 3 months and go and knock out a guy in 1 minute. It's crazy.
Which brings me back to we're talking about Joshua. Just let's even go a bit deeper. You know, I do boxing as well, so I studied quite a few boxing from all areas, from years in. But you know, I was even watching Joshua the other night, going back to when he fought Dylan White, and up until then, he had never gone past the 4th round. And
right.
Tater was even saying things like, "Oh my God, how is he going to cope?" He was going to say he was going to knock him out in 3, and you could see in between where the anger between both Dylan and Joshua was so intense.
Yeah.
When it came to them for the fight, they had used up so much energy of, I'm going to knock 7 bells out of you, that you could see they suffered from round 1 onwards, that they lost energy, they started to lose power. It
Absolutely.
took AJ to get to like round 5, and someone in his corner had to say, brother, please, this is not what we trained for. I know you've got the stamina. I know you've only boxed for, 1 or 4 rounds, but you need to show me that you can go 12.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's how he managed to knock out Dylan.
But
it could have been anybody's match.
Yeah, but I mean, for me, it's a bit like, I don't know what they look at boxers, especially the heavyweight, and especially black boxers. They want to build themselves up. Their body structure is built. Frank Bruno was a prime example of that. Frank Bruno, they should have looked at his weight, less weights, do lots of cardio, calisthenic work, so that he wouldn't be so muscly. And I think they look at our boxers like them and say, right, I don't know if it's an image look or what, but they're never going to be as great as they think they are with all that weight. And so you look at Anthony Joshua's fight. The first fight was a battle of weight. Ruiz was much smaller.
Yes.
Anthony Joshua was much bigger, much musclier, hench, as they call it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't good for him, because with that muscle and the breathing, and you can't prepare yourself for that. You can do the rounds in the sparring, but when you actually come to the fight night and adrenaline's buzzing and stuff like that, your whole body performance changes. And so,
that's right.
In the second fight, it's a much. He wasn't as cut as he was before. He wasn't bigger. He had done his homework, and thank God they did do the homework, and he was able to be
altitude as well. It was a different altitude from America.
Yeah.
So that's a major part too.
Absolutely, but he was very agile, which was one of the core things. Ruiz was in the first fight much smaller, but now Ruiz was the bigger fighter now, much heavier, and he couldn't do the work.
Why would he do that to himself?
Silliness, money, gone to the head.
Yeah.
He ate his way through the thing, and he should have just stayed humble, trained for that fight, for the second fight. He could have eaten himself out of it after that when he kept his world title, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
So, I know I'm going to come back to mental health awareness. Do you think that he was smaller in the first fight, and then now he's got the pressure? I don't think for 1 million that he thought he was going to be the champion. I don't think he even did that. He got Joshua and he beat him because he's a good fighter. Ruiz is a really good fighter.
He's got an outstanding amateur record.
Let's not take anything away from him.
No, not at all.
I'm just saying that when he did beat
Joshua,
he probably ate for comfort to deal with the fame and everything else that
absolutely. Absolutely. He was a hungry guy before remember, he took that fight short notice, so he was already hungry for that fight. Yeah. He was hungry. He was determined. He wanted to win that. But a true world champion will hold his titles and keep that performance. Mayweather did it. Muhammad Ali did it.
Brings me. We're going to come off Joshua. What is the connection with you and Sugar Ray Leonard?
Oh my God!
This is just. Oh my God!
Pound for pound, one of the best
boxer.
Yeah, one of the best fighters I've ever come across. I've replicated his movement, which was fabulous. His insight into the boxing. IQ for boxing is what I always say. You've got to have a good IQ for boxing, and he was splendid at that. And even though he was the smaller man at that weight, he chopped down those big trees. Because he had that natural movement, he's always thinking how he can break that fighter down.
His hand speed was phenomenal. what I mean? And his lateral foot movement, everything was just like, whoa,
Yes.
OMG, you know?
Yeah.
And I think if he was to fight up against a Mayweather of today, or a Mayweather of last week, or 2 years, he would snuff him out.
We always talk about this in the gym. We have a debate about Mayweather and Sugar Ray Leonard all the time. While Mayweather would be a defensive fighter who always fights on the back foot, Sugar Ray Leonard can fight on the back and he can fight on the front foot. So it doesn't matter to him. And he would cut that ring down. And you must remember, Sugar Ray Leonard had a variety of punches he could throw. And not a lot of boxers these days have those variety of punches, those combinations that you can throw at dynamic speed and be able to defend at the same time. You don't see that these days. Sugar Ray Leonard would for me, I think he would have stopped him, you know. But
I can see with he knew Errol Christie. So how did you meet him, Sugar Ray Leonard, and then the whole thing with Errol Christie? So tell me, how did you meet him?
I've got a friend named John. He knew I idolized Sugar Ray Leonard. Apart from my dad, Sugar Ray Leonard was my next best.
Mr. Davis.
Sugar Ray Leonard was my best thing, and he was amazing. And so I didn't realize Sugar Ray Leonard was in London. So I got a call, and he said, "Hey, Rich, I've got something for you. Come down to London Bridge, I think it was." And went to London Bridge, and walked into this hotel. It was Tower Bridge. Walked into this hotel, and I looked and I thought, nah, that's not Sugar Ray Leonard. And it was, and I was just speechless, you know. I was just looking at him, thinking, oh my God. And yeah, I was just the smile on my face. It just said it all. And he had his son with him as well, and I think they were doing some charity work. And we took that picture. I got a lovely picture at home of his belts carved up. It's a beautiful belt in my house, it was just an amazing feeling to talk to him about the boxing. And there was so much connections, obviously, because the late Errol Christie again was at the Kronk gym. He trained with Sugar Ray Leonard, sparred with Sugar Ray Leonard. You can see the pictures there. And it was wonderful sparring. You couldn't tell the difference between Sugar Ray and Errol Christie at that time when he was Errol Christie.
You look alike though, didn't they?
Yeah.
They actually do look alike.
Yeah. Amazing times. You can see me in the background there with me and Errol with the glasses on in the car.
Yeah.
We were driving out I think we was going to Stephen.
That's my favourite, the one in the middle.
Yeah. That's when he was having his chemo at the time. So me and him used to go out and do our thing. But him and Sugar Ray Leonard, it was amazing. And at the Thomas à Becket, you know, the work that was done there was just amazing. But Errol, you know, he was my next best thing. You know, great man, a great amateur career he had, and just through the pro, going at the pro gears, he should have been one of the ones that made it. I think management, I'm not going to say too much. I think it was one fight that they shouldn't have taken, and it wasn't the Mark Kaler fight. It was the fight before that. I think they shouldn't have taken that fight. Jose Saez fight. Jose fight just come off of I think losing by a split decision for a world title.
That's right.
He was a big cruiserweight, and Errol got caught with a silly shot in the first round, and I don't think he ever recovered.
They were kind of. It was a weight disadvantage, is what I.
Well, they kind of measured in more or less the same weight, but Josie Saez was a bigger guy, and he was a strong puncher, and no one likes to fight southpaws because they're very awkward, and Josie Saez was a southpaw, and Errol got caught with a shot, and I don't think, if I'll be honest with myself, he was the same Errol Christie after that. Even when he went into the Kaler fight and Michael Watson fight, he wasn't the same guy. But you know, he's in the Guinness Book of Records. For what he achieved. He was the first black sports captain of England, which he achieved. So, you know, we got to salute him and take our hats off to him for what he had done. You know,
LBC is legend.
Legend, definitely.
And I hope that, you know, when there's anyone that watches this after the show on YouTube, they will do their homework and understand that we had a wicked, champion in Errol Christie.
Absolutely. And, you know, it was hard for black fighters then. You know, you got likes of Bunny Sterling. He was one of the first Caribbean, I will not say immigrants, but came to the UK, won a British title.
Years with my dad.
Yeah. And was never given the opportunity to have a world title fight. So all these new boxers now, you know, we got to create history for these fighters. You know, the likes of my dad, Bunny Sterling. There's quite a few.
Reporting to the gyms now is what I think you're saying.
Absolutely.
All trainers need to either go back and be cheeky, like what the government is telling people that if you're in the music industry, go and train for a job.
Yeah.
How ridiculous is that? But we won't go on to that. But it's to actually just regress and go back a bit more into history. Have a look at the top coaches before them.
Yeah.
You know, and
top
say
coaches, top boxers. You know, have a look at them and see what they're all about.
Yeah. You know. Okay. I've got some quick fire questions for you before we log out of all of this, and I'm hoping that people enjoyed having you on. I want to know, what message do you have for the future? No. Hold on. Before I even go into that, what happened to the boy that you took, that you found being bullied on the street? Oh, I seem to have lost him. He needs to come back. He has an amazing, amazing story to tell you right at the end of this all. So I'm hoping that Richard will come back and join us very short. Oh, and he's back.
You're back. I've got you back. Don't know what happened there.
Tell them don't ring. No more ringing. Do not ring.
No more ringing, people.
Otherwise, let me do my telephone voice. He can't take your call right now, but if you leave your name and number, he'll be back with you shortly.
Hey. Splendid.
And no, I will not be doing any telephone voices for anybody.
You never know.
It's not Pornhub, okay? But, so, well, I want you to tell that story about the boy that you saw being bullied and how you were able to come to his assistance. How is he now?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know what's happening with these youths, these youngsters, you know. But I was sitting in the car, and I saw this boy happily going home in his school uniform. Going home, he walked past me, and then before I noticed, looked up again, he's running in the opposite direction, and he's running from two guys. And mind you, this boy is a big boy, and he's running from these two skinny boys, which it would take two of them to look his size, and they obviously were chasing him to bully him or do whatever they wanted to do. But as they saw me, they blatantly saw me sitting there, and I got out of the car. They stopped running. They stopped running after the boy, and proceeded into the sweet shop. By the time I looked, the boy's long gone, and he was scared for his life. I can tell you this now. It was crazy, and they actually had a bike. So one of them took the bike and rode the bike up to one direction, but I didn't realise that the bike was for two guys that were already in the shop. Silly them, they didn't lock up the bike before they went in the shop. Yeah. So when they came out, they said their bike's gone. I said, oh, well, I know who stole that. And I pointed, gave the description of the boy, and 10 minutes later, they came back with the bike. So karma comes in different ways, you know. And so while I'm talking to the guys, the guy that ran off for his life, he came back with an adult, and he was telling me the story of he has to take an Uber to school, which is 15 to 10 minutes, an Uber to school and an Uber back. Now that must be costing the parents a whole load of money.
Yes.
But I get to understand that it's not just one parent. There's a lot of parents out there that are doing the same thing just to keep the safety of their kids.
Children.
Now, the government has to do something. They have to look at what's going on in the schools, because I can't understand